they are what they are. You know what you're going to get from them. Good performer. Yeah, they don't tend to go to seed either, so that's quite good. Right, so we're going to harvest these onions today. They're a variety called Alisa, Craig. It's a well-known variety, very reliable. So what we're going to do, we're going to lift them. We don't pull them up. What we do is just go underneath the onion itself and just loosen the roots. What you don't want to do is damage that root platelet there, because if you damage that, they don't store very well. It lets diseases in. So what you want is some of your root intact. You can tell that they're ready because the top's bent over. That's a classic sign that your onion's ready. They're not going to grow much more than that now if you leave them in the garden. So now's the right time to lift them. If you're going to store them, what you want to do is to make sure that this is all dry as well. So on a nice day like today, best thing is to do just to lay them on the soil and let them dry out, or lay them on a bench in a greenhouse. That's the best way really, because then if you do get a shower, they're not going to get wet again. But that's a nice onion, nice and healthy. Ideal for cooking with. It's a good size for cooking with. If you get them too big, you end up using half of one or whatever, then it stinks your fridge out. What we're going to do, we're going to use this bed again we're going to grow another crop in it through the autumn. And a good crop to grow after onions is carrots, because the smell of the onion lingers in the soil and it puts off the carrot root fly. But we're actually going to grow a radish crop in here, an autumn radish. So I'll lift a few more. You don't have to peel all this off. As they dry, this will probably flake off anyway. But they're nice and clean because they're in a raised bed in compost. They are lovely and clean actually, and they're really firm, so there's no disease in them. That's another good sign. And you can see the top's healthy. But again, if I just hold that up, the top just flops over because it's done its business. It's not going to grow much more than that if I left it in the garden. You could do. It's not going to hurt it, but you might as well lift them and use your space for something else. But again, you've only got, it's about a foot wide by maybe 3.5, 4 foot long, this trough. And you've got, what we got, 4, 8, a dozen decent sized onions out of it. These were set on New Year's Day. I always set onions on New Year's Day. Don't know why, but from seed.
Early, isn't it? That?
Yeah, but they're it's an investment in time. They don't go out until probably April. They take a long time to get to any sort of decent size to plant out, but they don't take much looking after onions as long as you keep them relatively evenly watered. They're not a greedy plant really. So there's nothing gone in this soil, this compost, and that's your result. So other than I'm going to seed, which is when they put a tall spike with like an allium, because they're a member of the allium family, with like an allium flower on. If you see that spike coming, just cut it off and try and use your onion as soon as you can, because once it puts the flower on, it gets a woody stem down the middle of the onion and it's inedible. That was just a small one at the end. That probably not got as much sun, that one. So all I'm going to do is break the soil up and add a little bit more compost, because obviously the onions have taken a little bit out of this. Not going to do anything special. Crops not to use after onions, peas and beans, because your onions can attract diseases into the soil, and peas and beans are particularly susceptible to it. So try not to, don't follow onions with peas or any of the bean family. What you're looking for really is a quick crop that's going to grow and mature in sort of a couple of months, because obviously we're middle of August now. So you're only looking up to end of September. You might get into end of October depending on weather. But obviously this is UK, so we don't know what we're going to get. Even with global warming, we don't know. So That's good. If there's any decent sized roots, just take those out by hand. If you notice any grubs or anything, you can remove those at this stage as well. Anything you can get out of there, the better. It's things like potato roots. If you're following potatoes, you know they have a big root. Yeah, that sort of thing. Cabbages as well. You want to get all the any cabbage roots out. Again, they can have diseases as well, like cabbage root fly, that sort of thing. Just get them out before you start. So we're going to re-sow this straight away. We're going to use a radish called Chinese red meat, and it's an autumn variety. So it grows better in the cooler weathers. It is a bit frost hardy as well, which is good. But it grows quite thick and quite big, and it's got this lovely red meat red fleshy colour in the middle. So I'm just gonna. You don't need any tools for this. I'm just gonna put 2 or 3 drills down the middle. They're quite a big radish, so I'm gonna sow them fairly thinly. I'm gonna just put three rows in. They're quite a decent sized seed, so you can pick the seeds out individually. So what I'm going to do is just pot one in every about 4 inches, because they'll grow sort of 2 inches round, or potentially. So you want 4 inches between them. You could sow them close and then thin them out, but hopefully, if you get quality seed, they should germinate. Yeah. They should come through within 2-3 days. Yeah. The radish is notoriously quick for germinating. Then you get loads in a packet, so quickly cover those over, and it's just a matter of pinching them over. Just going to sprinkle a little bit more fresh compost over the top, just to make sure they're all right. And then we've got one of our products called Active Earth. It's a product that's got a fertiliser in it, so I'm just going to again just sprinkle a little bit of that over the top, just to encourage the growth and feed them a bit. On a garden, it's fantastic because it does encourage worms, which are the gardener's friend most of the time. So the more worms you get in your garden, the better. It helps to put air into your soil and help it to drain. It's just a granular form, but it has got a fertiliser quality to it. So just one handful, that'll do it. Yeah, that's all you need.
Subscribe to the MB YouTube channel to be notified of regular Dave's Corner videos.